Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the TA Dl Lsv80. This is a satin chrome commercial grade 2 cylindrical lever lock in what Transatlantic calls the Saturn style lever, and it is a storeroom function. We'll go over that in a moment. And again, satin chrome finish. This is a very typical and very common sort of lock set. Transatlantic is and has been for several decades, a provider of commercial building hardware, such as lock sets, door closers, exit devices. Well, Transatlantic is a name, at least here in Chicago, that is relatively known, and people have bought their locks and installed them in applications that were, marginal volume use in a commercial setting, or in residential applications where you might have storage doors in a condo building, or the electrical, vault rooms in a garage area. Custodial sorts of doors where a lower use lock is required. Retail spaces, fast food restaurants, places like that. And people have used the grade 2, which is this lock, meaning standard duty commercial, cylindrical, and have come to rely on it because there's a confluence of value and performance. It's an inexpensive lock that works really well, and if it's an environment by which there isn't really expected to be any vandalism or abuse, and it's expected to have a moderate amount of use, this lock is perfect. And for the cost, it's really second to none. I have sold this lock, this function, this color, this lever design countless times in all of those applications. You can have a condo building where you've got access to the elevator mechanical room. This is the perfect lock for that. It's inexpensive. It's going to match other locks that you might have in the facility and do so at a very predictable sort of performance level. Now, being a grade 2, again, that means standard duty commercial or heavy duty residential. It is cylindrical. That is the type of lock that this is. It is a storeroom function, meaning you'll have keys on one side, nothing on the other. The keyed side is always locked. You always need a key to get in. Every time I turn the key, all it does is retract the latch. The lever is always rigid. Always. You always need a key to get in. However, on the inside, it's like a passage. It's always unlocked. You can always exit without the use of a key at any time. Okay, that is inherently what a storeroom function is. Transatlantic makes these available in all of the common functions, and even a less common function: passage, privacy, entry, classroom, storeroom, single dummy. They'll even do a double cylinder, which is the 60 function, which will give you a key on both sides, which is very unusual. Not unusual, but not nearly as common. There is a included is going to be your 2 3/4 latch bolt. Okay, if you have need for let me back up. A 2 3/4 latch bolt and a 4 7/8 strike, which would be typical for a hollow metal door, hollow metal frame. This 2 3/4 is typical for steel frame, steel doors and wood doors. If you have a need for a 2 3/8, or if you have a need for a different strike, let us know at the time of ordering by indicating that in the comment field. But if no comments are entered when you add to the cart, you're going to get 2 3/4 and 4 7/8. What else you're going to get with the lock is all of the screws that you'll need, the 2 for the latch, the 2 for the strike, and then you're going to have 4 left over. I'll show you those in a moment. Then you're going to have all the bolts that you need to actually attach the lock onto the door. There is a link below this video to the product brochure, which is very nice because you can review this lock compared to Transatlantic's sister products in their commercial lock area. Really of note regarding this would be a reference to a grade 1 lock, and that is on the first page. Really, it's the same lock, it's just of heavier construction that is meant to be used a million times rather than something that's about half of that usage or a third of that usage. Your grade 2, your grade 2 are on the following page. Show you a different lever design that you can have. Grade 1 knobs, grade 2 knobs. Okay, you can get down to grade 3 as well, which would be for very low volume usage or residential. Levers and knobs. Accessories, deadbolts, mortise locks, cylinders, etc. Like I said before, the transatlantic name, or TACO, Transatlantic Company, is a name here in Chicago that's very well known. Being from Philadelphia, I know that that is a place that they have a lot of market penetration, but the standard subcontractor base here in Chicago relies on them. There's a link below that to the installation instructions, and they go over all of the aspects of actually installing the lock. Very simple, very straightforward sort of installation. You can install this lock with or without the modified holes at 12 and 6. There is, referring to that, a link to the template below all of that as well, which will give you your holes. Okay, you will fold your template over based on if it's beveled or flat, or whatever side of the door you have it on. That high bevel means you're going to be marking off of the pull side of the door if it's a beveled door. Low side would be the push side, or a flat door. Typical hollow metal door might be square edged. 2 3/8, 2 3/4 references. Okay, be careful of what you're doing before you drill it. Know which one you're doing it for. Those holes at 12 and 6 are 5/16 diameter. And my suggestion is that you install it with those, and I'll go over that next. To install the lock, you've got your exterior. Just leave that alone. It's the interior you want to work with. You'll get this multi-purpose tool. It's that end that you're going to stick into the hole at the base of the lever here. Okay, and that will allow me to remove that lever. And we're going to remove the rest of the parts. Your rosette may or may not come off like it just did. Doesn't matter, we'll show that in a moment. Your inner spring cage, and then your mounting plate. Okay, so those bolts shown here at the bottom, they will thread in to the base here and here. Okay, then we'll project out. And at that point, you will come with your base plate. Okay, and you're going to attach the base plate directly to the face of the door. The step of the installation will be dependent upon whether or not you're using the studs for the through bolt holes, which I again recommend that you do. The reasoning is you can put so much torque on a lever that over time that chassis can actually rotate, putting stress on the latch bolt. Okay, so you can stress it if you've not used the through bolt holes to help keep the lock exactly, vertical where it's supposed to be. I would recommend that you use them. However, if you do, here's the next step. You've got your studs mounted top and bottom. Then your plate will come. You're going to you'll have 4 extra screws left over out of this package, and you can insert them into here, here and here, and here and here, right to the face of the door. Then you're going to have some extra long screws like this left over. At that point, you're going to insert the spring cage assembly and take that long bolt and run it right through here, all the way to the back of your through bolt assembly, and you'll do that here also, top and bottom, and that locks the entire chassis together. Now, if you've not used that unit, you will then attach, using these short screws, right through here into the threaded aspect of the base here. So that goes on. The short little fat screw will come in. You screw that together. This is connected to that plate that's mounted to the face of the door, and then at that point, all you really have to do is your rosette goes on, and that will just snap over. Then your lever lock comes up. Your inside lever comes. Push it on, it'll pop right on. That's the installation of this. So it's very straightforward. It's very simple. I do not recommend that you use a screw gun or a power drill to install these. If you have too much tension on the screws holding it all together, it tends to compress all the parts, and they just simply don't operate freely. Really, hand tight is all that you need everything to be, is the best way to go about doing that. It's a very nice little lock for the cost, there's no doubt. So I'm going to quickly just reassemble this, and also let you know that Transatlantic does a lot more than just lock sets, of course. Exit devices, door closers. I've got experience buying their material for many years, and have continued to rely on them as a source of imported, high-quality, low-cost hardware. And there's lots of people that you can buy that sort of material from, and they all do a good job. It's just you become accustomed to who you rely on and who has performed, over time. And Transatlantic certainly, meets that description. If you have any questions on the Transatlantic Transatlantic DL Lsv80 626 lever lock or any other Transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.